Yeah, it's Monday. Okay.
It's
We're
Monday,
live.
right? Yeah. Oh my God, this weekend went by so fast. It felt like just yesterday we were doing a Friday show,
I know. I
doesn't it?
kind of feel the same way.
I mean, this is I don't like it.
No.
Because it's like I literally have to like last night I had to remind myself tomorrow is Monday. There's a show. Tomorrow is Monday. There's a show.
Yeah, I didn't even make this streamer until like fucking right before I passed out, which was like
Right.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Well,
I was like,
yeah.
oh shit, it's Monday. And the only reason I even thought about it then was because C was going to bed earlier than normal. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, but like earlier than normal, or just you thought it was a weekend and it felt like he was going to bed earlier than normal?
It felt like he was going to bed earlier
Oh, when
than
he was just
normal.
really going to bed at his usual time.
Mm.
Right.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Let's see if I can remember. Okay, so good morning, everyone. It
Ah,
is Monday, June 9th.
ninth. Ew.
It is 6
Oh,
9 2025.
oh, nice.
Sweet. And you are watching the Raging to the blogs.
A very sexy day today.
It is. That's why we're going to have some blossoming homance and all
Oh
that other
no.
shit. Yes.
Oh no.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I am really though, I am fucking dog ass tired. I
Yeah,
barely brushed my hair. I had to drag my ass in here.
right.
It is going to be a long ass day.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, just in general. Just in,
Oh, for
ah,
fuck's sake. You ready
yeah.
for this?
Absolutely not, but hit it.
Here we go.
Everyone does it. Now you can do it too. Shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut the hole in your face. Like that. You can do it. Shh. Shut up. And shut the fuck up.
Ta-da.
Yeah, that seems to be the mood. That seems to be the mood. I had to
It
like
is.
unfollow and mute a bunch of people this weekend.
Like
Oh my
I'm just one up in it. Like I've got my limits. I am like
right.
blocking and fuck you in and
Right.
blocking and yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Good times all around.
Well, so who's joining us in the chat after that introduction?
Ah, we got Melissa, Lou,
Hello,
Joseph, and
hello,
Rob. Good
hello,
morning, good morning,
hello.
good
Good
morning.
morning, good morning.
And some eyeball peoples.
Good morning. Yes, yes. And we see you, our beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. And as a reminder, if you are watching us from Facebook, please, for the love of God, just come to YouTube, join the sexy people in the chat, keep them company. Because I mean, really, it's like we've just been having issues with Facebook where we just cannot see your comments at all.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's just a lot easier if you just come to YouTube, and while you're here, make sure we fight now.
Just in general, stupid people, meme, different other meme lords, the government, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
I always love how Rob is ready to fight.
Get 'em.
Rob is ready to fight.
That's
He's got that shovel
and that protective nature.
He's got that shovel in the trunk, and he's like going, "Don't tell me anything, just tell me where."
I don't need the details. I don't need
Yeah,
the details.
exactly. I got the shovel. I got the car. We're good. Oh my goodness. So where was I? Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, if you're on Facebook, I highly recommend you come over to YouTube, and while you're here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. So I guess we might as well just get this started.
Let's roll.
Hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
Hear me. The Thorn Valley Plan is the aspiration of idiots and dreamers. We were just talking about you.
That's refreshing, Jenner. Usually you're screaming about us.
I keep forgetting how hot those characters are. Oh, Anita, my inner furry. My outer furry. Oh my god.
Whoops.
Oh my goodness. And I am known, speaking of furries, of the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales. Jesus Christ, it sounded like you were tasing yourself.
It's a J. No, it's really for real though. This is not a toy.
All right.
but yeah. If Adam and Eve will give me that sponsorship, I'll whoop them out for y'all.
Oh boy, Jesus Christ. What were we saying? Oh yeah, Tall Tales.
Tall Tales.
Furries. Right.
Right.
This.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, right.
More eye contact.
And I am known for my medieval fantasy drama, Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which I am currently packing right now. Kind of, sort of, as we speak, but yeah. So hopefully the first batch of issue 10 will be going out this week. So finally, fulfillment. Like a normal person. Oh, in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at egoworks.com. That's EGOWORKS, and Tall Tales, TAILS online.com. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, LAGE Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. I can tell you more about it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
Nita.
yeah. So
Not
Indie
fun.
Comics.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Anyway, so my name is Anita Lanning, and I am from the swamps and stuff. And I have a Google account, and it has a YouTube channel, like just like your moms could do, just like your grandmas could do. It's nothing. It's not that big of a deal. It's just me and my friends, and we talk about comics and stuff.
Right. And stuff. Yeah.
And stuff.
And stuff.
I'm also a fucking meme lord, and if you have a problem with that, fill this out and toss it in the nearest garbage can. There we go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I'm currently, like I said, I'm currently fulfilling, although this part that I'm doing right now is not technically fulfillment for the campaign. I do have everybody who did not have add-ons in their orders. I have those already like packed up. I just have to box them and then label them. So this, what I'm doing here, right? So I think like on the last show or something, I was talking about like how the authors they actually offer like swag, like postcards and stickers and things and bookmarks on their campaigns and on their websites, and you could just buy those separately. You don't even need to buy the book. You could just buy the ancillary stuff. And I think with Baltimore Comic-Con coming up in October, which is 4 months away, which feels like it's far away, but it's not. I decided that, I have like a whole bunch of extra stuff from previous campaigns that there comes a point where you can't give them out anymore. Like I'm sure that a lot of people on my campaigns are kind of fed up with getting the same postcards and trading cards over and over and over again in their packages. And and of course, like Rob had mentioned that, when he goes to conventions, he sells off all his extra stuff, all the extra freebies. So what I did was, what I've been doing is I've been packing up all the extra. So in this case, I have a whole bunch of extras of this postcard that I did for Medieval Unicorn Viking Slot, right? So,
Right.
it's a nice little postcard. And what I've been doing is, because I usually have like some stickers left over and some postcards left over, especially if they match. I've just been packaging the stickers and the postcards together, so I'm going to sell them as a set at
Right.
Baltimore. And depending on like whether how much I sell at Baltimore, or I don't know. I was like, I'm kind of wondering whether I should just say fuck it and just put it on the next campaign. Um, but so yeah, so because this campaign didn't have stickers really. No, it didn't have a sticker. I don't remember them having stickers, right? So what I did was
Oh,
actually made a sticker for this postcard. So for those,
beautiful.
yeah, this is the image that I was going to make a $10,000. It was supposed to be a $10,000 stretch goal, where I would make keychains of them, but we didn't get to that. But I decided, for the sake of being able to have a matching set, that I make the stickers for the postcards. So I've just been like packing them up like this, and then I'm going to put the tag on it, that little hanging tag, and then I'm just going to sell them as a set at Baltimore. And I also have another one that I made, like more stickers, just to have the matching one. This one I know everyone's seen before. This one's from a previous campaign, and I have like a bunch of these left. So I printed up more of the matching sticker that goes with,
Nice.
so again, it's going to be, like that. So I'm going to sell that. Now, this last campaign, of course, everybody remembers I was offering up the Chapel
Apple.
Road Chapel Road cosplay postcard, and we didn't make it to the stretch goal for the sticker, but I did make a small batch of
Nice.
anyway.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah, so I made a small batch so that I could take the extras of these postcards and put them together. Don't worry, Nita, I have a little stack for you separated.
Okay.
So I have the special.
You should totally send me like one of almost every sticker
Yeah.
because like I got a new laptop, so now Jaden has all my stickers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can get. Oh, definitely. So yeah, so definitely I'll put together.
I need a hookup.
Yeah, you need
I'll
the
need a
sticker
fix.
hookup. No, and what's funny? So I made these stickers with Sticker App, right? And I don't know if you can see it, right? So the thing, so I didn't realize it because I didn't do this. And if you look at like the star here, the stars on her bikini.
Oh, they have the hollow. Oh, wow. Okay,
I
that is
didn't
fucking
do that.
sweet.
I didn't do that. Someone at Sticker App took it upon themselves to make these parts transparent so that the glitter would show through it.
Oh, and they made it fabulous.
Yeah, and it looks fabulous. Like, I didn't think of doing that. So, because I thought maybe that was just maybe the yellow reacting, but
No.
the website is the same yellow, but that one is solid.
Huh.
So thank you to whoever it was at Sticker App who decided to, I don't know, be a little creative, more creative than I was with the design of my sticker, because now the next time I do this sticker, I'm going to make sure that those little details are taken care of.
Wow.
But
Nice.
I thought that was really cute. So yeah, so it's Sticker App, based in Sweden. I didn't know that. I thought that it was in the United States until FedEx told me I had a package from Sweden.
Oh, wow.
So and there was no like tariffs or anything on it. So, because I was a little concerned when I saw that the package was coming from Sweden, and I'm like going, oh, is this thing? Are they going to charge me twice? You know, like they're going to charge me double the amount just to get this package, but nothing happened. So, um, so that hold on for a second. I just want to. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. Yeah. So I thought that was like pretty cool. So anybody wants, you know, and it's like, and I really do like the quality of sticker app. So yeah, you know, and they offer up more options in terms of materials. They have like glow in the dark material, and what I like to use them for is their low tack. Those are like the reusable stickers that I use to close the comic book bags. I definitely because it's, yeah, you'd be surprised at how difficult it is to find someone with that material. Because it's like I was looking at a lot of sticker places and nobody had low tack except for or reusable or low tack except for sticker apps. So, you know, so I'm good with them. So yeah, so I've just been like kind of like packaging these together just to like I said, I'm not sure if whether I should go ahead and put them on my next campaign as like, oh, if you just, you know, like, oh, here's, you know, some extra add-ons or something. I don't know. Because also the thing is too is that sometimes if people pay for something, they're more willing to kind of be less flippant with it than if you're just piling on freebies into a reward, you know, into a reward. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're more likely to throw out something you didn't pay for than if like, oh, I paid like $5 for that sticker and that postcard.
Right.
So
No,
I'm
for
gonna
sure.
actually
For
keep
sure.
it. So that's also something else that I was thinking about too, that it's like, you know, like I said, I think that people have just been like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I inundate them too much with freebies, and I don't think people really appreciate it. Like they like freebies, but up until a certain point, you know, it's like because there's a point where freebies turn into garbage.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, um, so at least this way, if you pay for it, I know for a fact you want it. So, you know, so we'll see how that goes. So what you've been up to?
Fighting Facebook.
Again?
Always, like fucking always. I'm like trying to figure out, like I can't go live on Facebook again. But no, anyway, like mostly trying to figure out a schedule, because what I decided at first I was going to get rid of my larger Facebook profile because
Right.
it's so heavily weighed down. But then I decided, hey, no, that could be my get out of jail free card. So
Okay.
anytime I have a questionable post, I'll share it to that one
Oh,
and
I
let
see.
it ride and see
Right.
what happens. Because if they're going to hit it, they're going to hit it on that one.
Right.
And so, like, that way I can keep my other one clean. But it also gives me a chance to, I'm trying to separate the two. I went through and I removed a lot of the memes and stuff off of the larger profile. And I'm going to use that for links and Kickstarters only, that type of thing. It's going to be just work related crap.
Right.
And then the other is going to be my more personal profile, which will still have comics and all that, but I'll also have my memes. That'll be the profile I'm engaging on.
That's your fighting profile with Steph Wilson.
Right. But I don't want to get rid of the one until I've accumulated a larger audience on the smaller one. But I'm being much more careful in how I curate now. Like I'm not adding somebody as a friend, especially like if they've never engaged with any of my posts.
Right.
Like there's no reason for you to be there. You throw off my algorithm.
Right.
So I'm kind of like trying to play around with that, and I'm doing a lot of A/B testing right now on both accounts.
Okay.
So if you see me posting multiples and just with little tweaks,
just testing.
I'm testing the waters. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out this new algorithm. So just bear with me, folks. Like I'm just, but if you want my usual bullshit, follow me on my smaller account, which is like at like 2K followers right now. And I'm gonna see what this does, and hopefully it works.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I have to like give a weird apology to Melissa
Uh-oh.
in the chat. She's still in the chat, right? Yeah, she's still in the chat. Yeah. Because like I don't know, like on Friday, because I was in a mood, right? And I kind of still am in a mood, but maybe less so in a mood. And I think that I've said before that like despair is easy, and I felt like I kind of fell into that on Friday. Um and it's like I remember Melissa saying that it's like, oh, it's like just do a good book and the rest will follow. And I go, no, sometimes you just do a good book and nothing happens after that. And I don't know, I felt like I was being like a little
No, because
I felt
I
I
agree.
felt
Like these
like I
great
was
books that
being like just way too negative, like
oh
a little too hopeless,
there's our
about the
title.
answer, you know, and and like I said, it's like I've been going through it for a bit. I'm always going through it, so I don't know how different it is. you know, but so I've been going through, so me and Jose were talking about like all this stuff that's just been, it's like, yeah, I've just been like feeling this way, and it's like, how do I not feel this way? Why am I feeling this way? It's like kind of like, Jose is sometimes he's like Lucy in the box, psychiatry help 5 cents, psychiatric help 5 cents,
That's what I'm saying.
um, and I don't know. It's like I yeah, like I said, it's kind of hard to be like I said, I'm kind of going through it,
We
right?
can't be super positive all the time, Daphne. We got to keep it real.
Well, you see,
If that's how you were feeling
that's
in the moment, then fuck it.
right.
That's how
Well,
you were
you
feeling
see,
in the moment.
because that was kind of like the issue that I was like, I was trying to find that balance between outright despair, nothing is, oh, nothing's going good, my comic's never gonna sell, blah blah blah, right? To the opposite end, right? Where we become a little too Pollyanna-ish, where it's like,
Mm,
oh, it's like everything, just like, don't worry, everything, like that whole this too shall pass type thing. It's like, oh, yeah,
right. No,
it's like,
sometimes it doesn't.
everything it works out. Everything
My
will
dad's
work out,
still
and this,
alive.
that, the other thing. And you know what? Just make sure that your any contracts you sign has like a Netflix, thing. It's like
Right.
and it's like like that's like you can't even sell like 50 books on Kickstarter, but you're worried about a next Netflix deal, type of thing. And it's
Right.
like
Nobody felt that you were rolling around on the
there
ground, oh, woe is me, throwing ashes on yourself. It wasn't like that.
like
It
little
wasn't like
kids,
that.
the way they throw tantrums, and all of a sudden there's
No, it wasn't
shoes and
like that.
socks everywhere.
No, no. I don't think anyone saw it that way. Like, not at
you
all.
know, and
And
it's
sometimes you do. You sit there and you can. I've seen great books. There are several that I've read that I've
uh-huh,
actually even promoted before that were fucking phenomenal that couldn't
right,
even fund. And so
right,
and some of them came back and they funded on the second go round.
right,
Fucking look at Rob.
right,
Jesus, Nightwolf is like going on fucking 10 issues strong. Fucking he's
right.
got a spin-off on that motherfucker. But the first one, it didn't go
Oh,
anywhere.
right,
Sometimes
yeah,
it just takes time. And then sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes
right,
people are like, I can't handle it and keep going.
right,
Or like they can't keep going. So they just let it go.
right.
It's what
Yeah,
it is, dude. Just
right. I mean, because like I said, it's like I think that it's just like I'm trying to find this middle ground, like I said, between like Lou says, I post stuff that I think is pretty good art that often gets ignored. You can't smile about that all the time. Right. Yeah, exactly.
right.
It's 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 his shoes and socks flying kind of time. Well, that's true. Yeah.
Right.
Um because it's like I kind of think that both ends of the spectrum, which in the end that's all we have, right, Rob? It's like we do this because we're too
Right.
stubborn to know any better.
I
where
like the
it's like where it's like where both ends of this spectrum, where it's like, like being in despair all the time doesn't do anything for you any more than thinking that it's like, oh, it's like, it's all going to be great and this, that, and the other thing. And, the Netflix deal is coming any day now type of thing.
right,
Right. It's like,
right.
and I think that both of these ends serves what they do is that they kind of like serve as barriers to what we're supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
And well, actually doing. Because it's like, yeah, I'm a ghost running on spite. Yeah, exactly. you know, um, because it's like I watch Jose's show. I've been on Jose's show, and and it's like, and you really do. Oh, how can I say this? And you have no shame, as you could tell by my dance dad post the other day. Oh, did you do a dance? Did you
It
dance on?
did. Oh, it did.
um, you know, and I think that okay, so I've been on his shows. I watch his shows. I watch other people's shows. And it gets a little dangerous, I think, when it seems like a lot of people, too many people, are living in kind of like a collective delusion.
Oh my God. Don't
You
get me
know,
started.
and the problem is that because because it's like they just you see, that's the thing, because me and Jose are like going, oh, delusion is such like a negative word. It's like,
No, it's delusions of grandeur. It
where it's like,
mostly is.
like I think we kind of agreed of over enthusiastic enthusiasm.
I'm the next Image Comics.
It's like, like they're really like too over enthusiastic, Yeah, I mean, like they crank that shit up to 11. It goes to 11, Um, and the thing, like, look, I think it's important that in the end that we do, find joy in what we do, and we do enjoy what we do. Um, but the thing is, like, I'm not that's not kind of not what I'm talking about. It's kind of like that this kind of like this like I said, this weird over enthusiasm. Like I said, it's like, oh, I'm gonna be
Well,
Polito
that's
any day
because
now.
these guys are being taught by different. There are a lot of people out there giving them this advice that fake it till you make it. So you come
Right.
out and you scream that you're a god from the mountaintops and you'll become a god. That's not how it
Right.
works.
Right. And I think that because there's this need, because and mind you, it's a collective over
Right.
enthusiasm,
Right.
because which is in which so you have like all these creators kind of encouraging that thought process because they need it to be true,
Right.
you know but at the same time, I think that what causes a lot of this makes the pendulum swing really hard in the opposite direction is that they're all rah-rahing each other, right?
Right.
In a certain way, and then when things doesn't happen,
It's a big reveal.
that victim blaming gets hard,
Yeah, it does.
you know because it's like, if you do all the right things, right, and you're still not reaching a certain level of you see, like, I don't know, like I said, that background noise of peer pressure, that if
Right.
you're not meeting that level, then everyone is very quick to turn around and say, it's like, oh, that's because you did it wrong. Oh,
Right.
well, you didn't. It's like, oh, well, you didn't make it because you did it wrong.
Or
Or
you
it's like,
should, or
yeah,
have you, or
yeah,
yeah.
it's like, right. It's always like, oh, you did it wrong. It's like, oh, it's like you just have to market harder, that type of thing. And it's just like, which is not helpful either, because then it's like, because statistically we are most likely to be just very painfully average, right? um you know, it's not really about we did it wrong. It's just that statistically, this is where you plateau. And no matter how hard you work, if you're in this environment, that's where you're going to stay. It doesn't mean that your book is bad. It doesn't mean that you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing, you know. But what happens is that because you're kind of like reminding everybody there's a crack in the delusion, then there's this weird victim blaming that happens. And it's like,
Right.
when you have that happening enough times, then I think that that's when you get you get into, like, you swing into the despair part, going, what am I doing wrong? Why do I suck? Why is everything so hard?
I feel like
When
for all
really,
these kitty books.
but the reality of it is that there's nothing wrong. What it is that because you're so committed to this over enthusiasm, that the environment, that the people in this environment kind of like require you to have, um that you kind of miss the fact that, wait a minute, it's like Kickstarter has a limit to what I there's a limit to what I can do on Kickstarter, and
Right.
it's like, if that's the case, if I kind of like, no matter what I do, I'm still I'm hitting a ceiling on Kickstarter, then the question is, what did you do wrong? I was like, oh, well, you just did something wrong. Actually, what we should be thinking about is like, okay, if that's my limit on Kickstarter, where do I look outside of Kickstarter to make the changes that I might need for that? You know what I mean? And it's like, because it's
Right.
like we get so wrapped up in kind of like, oh, it's like, oh, my book sucks, this sucks, maybe I suck, I don't do it, oh, I'm lazy, because it's like, why am I not having 10% growth at every campaign, when that's not how it works? um it's like we get wrapped up in that, instead of like realizing that it's like, okay, this is the environment, right? It's the terrarium thing, right? It's like, you put a tropical lizard in a desert terrarium, and then you're like going, oh, maybe I'm not feeding it correctly,
Why?
or what, maybe actually, no, we're saying maybe the lizard is sick,
Hmm.
when
Right.
it's just in the wrong environment. But
Right.
because you're so wrapped up in the, in the, oh, this is not fitting the collective delusion, that there must be something wrong with that, or there must be something wrong with me, not the fact that it's actually that, either the despair or the Pollyanna thinking is not allowing you to actually analyze the situation before you as it actually is.
Right.
Am I making any sense
You know, and
whatsoever?
actually, I think your
you know
analogy is perfect. This podcast is usually about self-published independent comics, and then whatever nonsense comes out just
right.
happens.
Yeah. So yeah, usually about, like, especially like indie comics as it pertains to like the Kickstarter platform environment.
Right.
And and it's like, and I'm a self-publisher. She's a promoter.
Whatever. I
You're a
guess.
promoter of indie comics. And
Publicist
this
for
is a
some company.
show, right? And this is a show where we just kind of talk about our personal
Experiences.
experiences on self-publishing comics, using
Jesus, we can't even sell
primarily
ourselves,
the
Daphne. How are we gonna
Kickstarter
sell books?
platform, right? Yeah, it's
You
like,
gotta see
well,
my feet.
no, you're gonna get us. You're going to get us kicked off of YouTube. Um. So yeah, right, yeah,
Right.
exactly, right. And it's like, and instead, it's like we keep blaming ourselves for being square, as opposed to like
Finding a
this
square hole.
this is not my hole. Oh God.
Wrong hole, wrong hole.
It's like, like the Junji Ito, cartoon, the strip where it's like this is my hole that was made for me, and it's like, so that's kind of the thing, right? So we get like wrapped up in this, like I said, that background noise, peer pressure, right? And I had told Jose, it's like, so it's like, what I find very frustrating is the fact that it always feels like I have to start from scratch. It never feels like I'm gaining momentum. It always feels like, it's like I rev up for a little bit and then I go back to zero. Right.
Right.
And and it's like, and he says, well, and then I had said that it's like it always feels like oh, what is it? Like I'm not, like, no matter what I do, it's always the wrong thing. And that this is going to sound really, really stupid. This is going to sound really stupid, is that I feel like my efforts are not being appreciated. Right. And Jose goes, your audience appreciates it.
Word.
Smack. Right. And I go,
Smack.
oh, snap.
Welcome back, Daphne.
Right. I like, oh shit. Right. You're right.
Right.
You're right. My audience, I was like, I have always wanted to figure out self-publishing through Kickstarter. I self-published too, but physically. I have sold over 3,000 books. Oh, congratulations. But I could never figure out the digital platform. I guess you do a lot of conventions or
I'm going to put my link in the chat, and for my Facebook link, message me, and I have a few people that could probably help you out.
Right. Yeah. Although, selling 3,000 books on your own is not too
3,000 books on your own is fucking epic.
Right.
Dude.
Yeah. So then it's like, thank you, Rob. So yeah, but then that was the other issue, right?
Right.
Is that how much of this anxiety, right? That I guess if, I would like to say we, because I know I'm not the only person who feels this way. How much of this anxiety is us trying to impress people we should not be even bothering to impress? Like we're it's like that we're driving ourselves crazy trying to impress people who
oh my God, this sounds like me talking to you a year ago.
Well, right. Well, that's how it works,
care?
Right? So
why do you care what he says? Why do you care what he thinks?
That it's like that there's a lot of people who like to be like self-proclaimed experts.
Right.
And for some bizarre reason, we feel those are the people we have to impress with our effort. When really it's our audience we have to impress with our effort.
They're the only ones that matter.
And it's like, and I'm like going, oh yeah, actually, it's like, we're all here trying to play like pick-me games. Notice me.
Keeping up with the Indie Joneses, man.
It's like, notice me, senpai. When they have nothing to do with you.
Right.
No, it's your audience. What is your book doing?
I'm just feeling my way around.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it's like, because like I said, that's the reason why it's like, like, especially lately, I just want to impress on everybody that this is my opinion and how I go about things, that I do not consider myself in no way an expert in this. Right. I mean, it's like, this is what I do. It either works or it doesn't. And it's like, and maybe if you can get like an idea or two out of it, but this is more like, yeah, it's like definitely your mileage will vary depending on the advice. Because
there is no secret sauce. Everybody's always trying to look for the secret sauce. The secret sauce varies for everyone.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
An opinions
expressed here. Right. Yes, exactly.
Speaker.
Right. Yeah. yeah,
Seriously though, like
right. So it's like, so I'm not saying all this to kind of portray myself as an authority on this. I'm only an authority on what I do for myself, and even then, I'm not very good at that. I'm
I'm
still
not.
guessing, at what it is, I have to do, and but the thing is,
I
though,
get
there's plenty.
myself in more trouble than anyone else does.
But the thing is, though, there's plenty of people who have no problem, no problem taking on that mantle. It's like, oh, I am your
Oh yeah,
authority,
absolutely. They
you
just
know,
somebody
and
just
then
ran a
all of a
Kickstarter on
sudden,
being an expert on Kickstarter.
right, and it's like, and then it's like everybody's looking that way because, oh, well, they say they're an expert, so they're the
Right,
people I
right.
have to impress. When it's like, wait, no, they're not the people you have to impress. It's your audience. It's like, it's your, it's like, so it's like, I'm so yeah, so I'm kind of like coming to grips with that, and then which that's why in the end I ended up having to mute like certain groups and people on my feed,
Right.
because it's like, you know what, I really need to quiet this chatter in my head even more for me to like kind of focus to what I wanted, to what I want to accomplish.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it's like I don't, yeah, so it's like, really, it's like, so it's like I can't lose sight of the fact that these so-called experts are not my audience. It's my audience that's my audience. And in the end, it's like, am I doing right by them?
Oh, I love JD. That was great.
What? Oh, yeah, it's like, right, yeah, but that's why we end up having these conversations,
Right.
so so it's like, so it's like, yeah, as long as you're doing right by your audience, you're doing right, you're doing the right thing. Now, growing your audience is, yeah, now that's a different conversation, but again, it has nothing to do with these so-called experts, and it has nothing to do with whether, it's like, oh, I don't, it's like, oh, I'm sure someone is doing a Kickstarter on how to do a successful
They
Kickstarter,
just
even
did.
though that kind of makes no sense. Yeah,
They
no,
just
yeah,
did. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and and again, it's like, and then it's like realizing that a lot of that despair slash Pollyanna dichotomy in thinking is because we get too wrapped up in trying to senpai notice me. I'm doing the right thing, right? Tell me I'm being a good little boy, type of thing, right? It's like that type of, it's
Getting
kind of, oh,
hot.
what is it? What is it? It's like when you have a praise kink, but you can't accept compliments. you know so it's like, yeah, so it's like, it's all about, oh, I'm trying to impress these people. Well, who are
Right.
these people?
There's a
Are
collective
they
who have
your
dubbed themselves
audience?
expert.
Yeah, are they your audience? No,
No.
then why are you trying to impress them? And it's like, and mind you, it's like, it's not even like one specific person. Like I said, it's this
No, it's a collective.
radioactive background noise, right? Where it's like everybody's kind of like jabbering in the background about like the same shit, because again, it's like they're living in this bubble
Oh,
and
it's an
they
echo chamber.
desperately need that bubble to stay intact. So they need everybody in the bubble to believe whatever the mythology. If you do this, if you do X, Y will happen. Regardless
Charity
of
Kickstarter.
all the variables, that changes that. But if
Amen.
X doesn't happen, oh, that's because you did it wrong. You see, if I do it right, I'll get X. But if you do it wrong, you won't
Jeez,
get
it does
X.
sound like a fucking religion.
Right.
The
Yeah.
more you
But
talk, the
yeah.
more it sounds like a religion.
Right. Now, mind you, I'm not saying
Unholy
that
church to
people are
Kickstarter.
yeah, I'm not saying that people are actually saying this type of stuff
Nope.
literally. This is a very much an exaggeration.
Well,
But
yeah.
like I said, when you get enough of that background noise. It's kind of like, it's kind of like how we know about the Kardashians, but none of us has ever seen the show.
Yep, not a one.
That's what I mean by
Okay.
radioactive background noise.
Right.
That is just information that ends up in your head anyway, just because that's how much part of the ether it becomes. So okay, so now it was just like kind of figuring out too. It's like, okay, these kind of thoughts, like I said, rather either one end or the other, what are they keeping me from actually paying attention to?
Hmm.
You know, is and it's like, yeah, probably I've hit my ceiling on Kickstarter. That no matter what I do, I am probably not going to see more than between 130 and maybe 164 backers on my Kickstarter, no matter what I do. And I'm already on issue 11.
Right.
I'm going to be launching issue 11, later on. And it's like, I already have 10 issues under my belt. And, and this is kind of like, where it just seems to be. It's not like I'm not seeing. The only time I saw like that incremental growth, like for each issue, I got it like a good jump of backers is between issue 1 that culminated in volume 1.
Right.
I think volume 1, I'm not counting Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut in this. That was an outlier, and we do not count it. We do not count Viking Slut George in the in the numbers. Should never have been counted. So it's like my volume 1 is the Eagle Raven book that made the most money. Like I said, not counting Viking Slut. And then
Right.
like ever since then, it kind of like dipped and then it kind of like straightened out pretty much. And it's like, and after 10 issues, that hasn't changed. So what's the data telling me? Right? No matter what I do, that number hasn't changed over 10 issues. And and look, and I really do believe I tried a lot, to get that number to go up. And, so, all right, I hit my ceiling on Kickstarter. This is something I have to accept. Now the thing that I have to analyze is like, okay, what do I have to do outside of Kickstarter in order to add to my audience that may or may not necessarily mean they come to Kickstarter? So, it's kind of like, so kind of like, it's just accepting that reality, and then analyzing from there what I have to do. And also part of that reality is that, well, I can go to well, maybe I really do need to go to more conventions. But that's now a different audience that you're cultivating. We've seen that. I mean, Sam Vera, who does Duty, Alien in My Toilet, he talks about all the time how the people who buy his book at conventions literally tell him to his face, we will not buy off of Kickstarter. We will only buy directly from you at a convention. So now he has a different audience for that.
Right.
So just because I find another audience doesn't mean I'm going to be able to merge everybody into one giant audience. Right. So that's also something that I have to keep in mind as well, that it's like, what? All roads do not lead to the Kickstarter.
Right.
Like I could start, I could start like, actually like really kind of like integrating myself into the whole like monster erotica novelist scene. But again, that doesn't mean everyone goes to the Kickstarter. In fact, I was just recently watching another author talk about how they were going to put out a new release of their book and they were thinking about doing a Kickstarter. and they did a poll for, on their website, and everybody pretty much told them, don't bother with the Kickstarter. We'll just buy it directly from you off the website.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm kind of wondering, like, how many people are like that? It's like if I dip my toes, if I kind of jump into that end of the pool, will that allow me to actually build my website? Because this audience, does it look like this? Now, mind you, I'm basing that off of one author, but it's like, it could be that the reason why my growth on Kickstarter is so limited is because there's actually a lot more people who would rather not use Kickstarter.
Right.
That they would just rather buy the book off your website, which is another completely different audience. So, what I have been able, so it's like, yeah, what I've been able to have actually paid attention to that, if Jose didn't just say your audience they're the ones you have to be looking at, not these dipshits claiming to be experts on anything. And even then, it's like, once you actually analyze what they do, it's like they're really not, like I said, most the Kickstarters that people crow about. It's like, if they were people, it's like if they were people, their incomes would qualify them for Medicaid. And it's like, is this what we're celebrating? Is this what we're it's the multiple legs under the table theory, right? It can't hurt to be more than one place to cover a lot of different kinds of audiences. Right, exactly. That it's like that really your foundation, that seems to be opposite of my experience. Right. But you see, but that's the thing too. It's like everyone's trying to make you believe that there's a one
They
size
have the
fits
one
all.
answer. Right.
Right. That it's a one size fits all strategy, and I once asked my audience where they preferred to buy my stuff, and my diehard said anywhere, but a lot just said Kickstarter. Right. So that's right. So it's like, that's what I mean. It's like, like, actually the strategies we have to follow are a lot more individualized than what these so-called experts are trying to convince us of.
Right.
And I think that once we kind of like switch our heads away from notice me senpai to, what's my audience actually doing? It's like, it's like, what are they actually doing? Am I putting a tropical lizard into a desert terrarium? It's like, with Kickstarter, you end up in a process buying from a website. It's an end of transaction, no waiting and wondering. Right. Which I think that's
Right.
what a lot of people on the author side prefer, because if it's on your website, that means the book is out. Short of you doing a pre-order, the book is there.
Right.
And within like a week, you have the book. Where on Kickstarter, like she said, it's a process. So, it's kind of, it's really funny, because it's like, it's not that dissimilar to the complaints that people have had about comic book stores. Like, how can we expect the average person to buy our comics in comic book stores when the process is such the antithesis of how the average person shops? Right? It's like, let me get this straight. You're asking a person to go into a specialty shop and pre-order and make a pre-order that, mind you, the shop may or may not take, which is also part of the problem, that the shop may or may not take, and then maybe you'll get the book in 3 months. And it's like, and Kickstarter's kind of the same way. You're asking people to take a leap of faith that you're going to actually deliver this book soon after the Kickstarter. And sometimes you don't get that book for another 2 years,
Or 5.
right? Or 10.
Or ever.
Right. Yeah. Or ever. Right. But this
But the
author wrote
problem is not as rampant on Kickstarter as it is other platforms that I shall not name right now.
well, but the thing is, though, is that it's the crowdfunding. It's not necessarily a Kickstarter thing, it's a crowdfunding thing where it's like, especially when it's like Kickstarter is constantly blaring, we are not responsible. You're investing, you're not buying. This is not a storefront. And I honestly, I have to disagree with that. That's for that thing is to protect Kickstarter.
Right.
That is not an expectation on the individual creator. When I pledge to a Kickstarter, I expect to get a goddamn book.
Me too.
So I think that that's kind of like what's going on the author side, where it's like they'd rather buy it directly from the author because it's like, I'm getting a goddamn book and it's shipping within the week,
Right.
as opposed to pledging to a Kickstarter where you probably won't see that novel for another year. Especially since the way novels go. I mean, I'm less tolerant of comics taking that long, but but my whole point is that, it's like once we kind of get these so-called experts out of our heads and actually pay attention to what's really in front of us, it's like, do we actually see the real picture as to what we're doing? And it's like, yes, sometimes that means accepting that our book, especially if we're selling a really quirky, non-trendy, not to market book, that we can see the limitations on that. And then, it's not that the limitations are bad. It's like, I'm not asking you, it's like, or telling you, oh, if you want to succeed at this, you have to change your book. That defeats the purpose of us creating. It's just for us to kind of let go of these opposite ends of this, oh, everything sucks because, oh, only TNA books sell on Kickstarter, or it's like, oh, I'm just going to be famous any day now, and I'm going to get a Netflix deal any day now, or like, oh, I'm going to be the next Image any day now, I'm going to hit the zeitgeist any day now. Here's the thing, you do not plan to hit the zeitgeist. It just happens. There is no planning to hit the zeitgeist.
There's the right place and the right time. That's it.
Right. And it does, and it doesn't hit most of us.
Right.
And it's like, and I guess it depends on also how much of your ego is caught up in this, because it's like there's plenty of people who don't want to stand the fact that their stuff is limited. That it's like, oh shit, it's never going to hit it's like, no, absolutely not. It's going to hit the zeitgeist. It's going to, and it's like, no, you're not going to be the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And you know what? I don't know why you think that's a bad thing. You being the royal you who think that, oh, if I'm not the next Ninja Turtles, that I'm a failure. It's like, why does it have to be the extreme opposite? You're either super successful or you're a super failure. It's like, why does this belief system have to go to the extremes? There's all this space in the middle that we can be, all these different spices, and you chose salty.
The blandest one of them all.
It's like we have all